Hello everyone and welcome to OEM Update Magazine's interactive session on recovery and review heavy engineering equipment and machine tool business in India. The machine tool industry is considered as the mother industry as it supplies machinery for the entire manufacturing sector. The manufacturers is considered as a mother industry as it supplies machinery for the entire manufacturing sector. The manufacturers of machine tools are mostly SMEs, heavy engineering and machine tools. Sector consists of capital goods industries such as machine tools, textile machinery, construction, earth moving mining machinery, and other heavy industrial machineries, MHE and oil field equipment, etc. These industries are delicensed and foreign direct investment (FDI) up to 100% under automatic route, as well as technology collaboration in allowed freely. Heavy equipment and machinery engage heavy duty vehicles, which mostly involve construction tasks. This comprises five equipment systems: implementation, structure, powertrain, control, and information. Pandemic broke manufacturing infrastructure opportunities for heavy equipment and machinery industry and production environment. On this note, today we have come together to witness an engaging interactive session on recovery and review heavy engineering equipment and machine tool business in India. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and privilege for me to introduce you to today's distinguished speakers, Mr. V. Sekhar, Chief General Manager at BEML Limited, Mr. Saurabh Kulkarni, Mobile Automation Expert, Region India, BNR Automation, Mr. Kiran Kambampati, Associate Principal, BMGI, and Mr. Mukund Purane, Senior Consultant, Universal Engineering Consultants.
Mr. Mukund, we saw a question from one of our delegates in the Q&A box. Mr. Praveen is asking, Mr. Mukund, I work with a couple of reputed firms, and you raised a point that we never develop high-tech machines like WFL and CNC systems. But then we never had the necessity of R&D thought process to create facilities where we can develop such products. Safety has been always at backseat. Is it now only we are a little cautious for safety? So what is your view on that?
Definitely, let's start in everything. And we never had a strong R&D. In fact, I will quote a case. When in 1984, when Maruti Motor started, they had a lot of requirements. Their first global tender came, all machines went to Japan. Second global tender came, then all machine tool manufacturers in India went to the Prime Minister saying that when we are making machines, why we are not given opportunity? So it was very clear reply that I will not interfere anything. So you directly deal with them and decide on that actually. So while actually approaching this Maruti Motor, they had a lot of controls, in their machines, safety and automations and all that. So they said, what is the tool life for this particular operation? Then they said, no, we can work out like this. No, nothing work out. I want digital figure. You will go and work out is a very, motherhood answer. So we don't want that way. So from that, actually, we learn a lot of controls from them. And he said, now you will develop the machine, you will test the machine, a lot of parts will be rejected. Again, then by that time, you will spend a lot of time and energy in that. Instead of although we are buying from Japan, second-hand machines, those are proven machines, and we can start the production from next month. That was their stand actually. Thereafter, actually, we started a lot of controls in the machines, like seat check controls and many other things, that electronics and all that we started introducing in that. Before that, 84, we were practically just general type of things we were making. Similarly, for other machines also, we have not developed any individual CNC system. What HMT also had taken was basically in collaboration with Siemens. So instead of C numeric, they called it G numeric. But nobody had developed the individual CNC system. So that is where I want to say actually. So these are the areas we must definitely. And HMT ke liye CMTI was the main R&D in Bangalore.
Yeah.
But, progress, I do not know really. I mean, how it was there. We should be ahead of the market, which we are not. And we never concentrated on export, basically. So we only concentrated on Indian industries. And that was the main limitations actually.
Yeah, he was also addressing, sir. Sorry to interrupt. He was also addressing the cost aspect in another question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Say internal cost aspect is there, but that could have been compensated by export of machines. which we never thought that angle at all.
Yeah, coming to V. Shekhar, improving productivity and operating efficiency are the concern, as you rightly said. Rise in demand for automatic transmission in vehicle is being witnessed presently with predictive analysis. And increasing trend of autonomous vehicle is profiling growth of transmission control systems. So what new emerging technologies do you envision or predict to incorporate in the design part of heavy equipment machinery at a time when more of automation is the need and demand for the industry? Mr. Shekhar.
So whatever this question you asked is with respect to transmission technology. So I want to just emphasize on that. Now, whatever you can say that already I told that people are migrating to hybrid configuration. When you say that mechanical trucks, so mechanical trucks already we are going with the automatic gearboxes, whatever is there in the cars. Similarly, it has come for heavy trucks because heavy trucks operator will be more fatigue. Already we are going with automatic transmissions with you can say turbo machinery like torque converter and all it is there. Instead of going, we are not gone with CVT and all. CVT for lower range. For our kind of heavy duty application and construction equipment, we are going with the torque converter technology. And main key technology, whatever is gone, it is called proportional control. So earlier it is go for on-off control because of whatever clutch modulation inside the transmission. Earlier it has been fixed with respect to 1 or 2 modulation valve will be there. That will cater for entire range of the transmission. For example, if a 5 speed or 8 speed, all those things, only 2 kind of modulation. But that type of thing, it is not giving the adequate operator comfort even for the driveline efficiency or you can say reliability, because each and every operating condition will be different. So that was a one kind of upgradation. But with now it is going for more and more autonomous or it is machine learning, and we are slowly migrating into hydrostatic drive, whatever is coming there. So we are going to totally eliminate the mechanical transmission. We are going with the hydrostatic drive or with the electric drive. So you can see all our mining field also from 100 tonner. Earlier it was the 35 tonner was the benchmarking truck. Now it is migrated to 60 tonner, whereas 60 tonner is migrated to 100 tonner. Now it is going for recent tender from Coal India and all going for 190 and 240. Where that type of things is totally hybrid, it is electric only. And that is the case, transmission is totally going to be that electric transmission. From the alternator, it is going to be directly wheel motors. So one advantage, whatever we are going for that in future also, very easy to convert into battery truck and easy to convert into trolley operation. So that is a migration it is going. And that type of things, technology is coming for now. It has been feasible because of heavy cost. It is affordable for higher range of trucks. It is coming for some technology has been come for lower range. Similar now drivetrain it is gone for even for wheel loaders and for the dozers. So you can say coming to transmission technology, it has been we are already started migrating from mechanical transmission to electric transmission.
Thank you, Mr. Shekhar, for sharing idea on the transmission technology. Coming to Saurabh, with evolving automation, requirements for efficiency and quality are on the growing trajectory. The construction and commercial vehicle need a scalable automation system and connectivity. So Saurabh, how far the mobility applications have advanced in the opportunity area post-pandemic with technology innovations and IIoT advantages? And what new possibilities do you foresee in the mobile automation solutions for CNC, robotic applications, and implementing the same for the heavy equipment?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Yes, as with most parts of the world, India is also trying to respond to the challenges of this post-COVID reality. So, which has also come to define a new normal for our economy as well as to the society at large. So, but this pandemic has also taught us the mobilization of human resources. So that's why it is important to integrate automations in equipment or in these machines, because we saw that there were no operators for these machines when the pandemic or the lockdown was there. So that necessitates that the more and more automation needs to be there. Plus, it also, apart from it makes ease of operation to the operator, plus it also increases the downtime of the machine, because then you have everything under the monitoration, including the fuel consumption, the number of hours the vehicle was running, the productivity of this vehicle, and there are a lot of things which can also be implemented along with the core automation, which are like predictive maintenance or the secure remote maintenance. So wherein you can put the conditioning monitoring sensors onto the mechanical linkages. So we know with the operation there's always wear and tear. So we know with the vibrations we can sense it, okay, whether this is within the limit or beyond the limit. So this can be predicted before the machine or the equipment is breakdown, and we can do the maintenance accordingly. And talking with new technologies or innovations, I would say that robotics, CNC, IoT, or the camera vision, these are the new trends, or these are the must-have things now. Even be it a mobile phone or be it a backhoe loader. So these are always required, and integrating robotics or CNC in this mobile equipments is not a big task, I would say, which we have already done it. And what it helps us is in achieving a lot of efficiency from that equipment, and also it reduces a lot of fatigue for operator. Like I can give an example. We are working with Husco from US, wherein we have used this serial kinematics. So wherein you can define, okay, you need a trench, you need to dig a trench of this dimensions, and based on your bucket dimensions, the operator just needs to operate the lever. All the mechanical linkages and the hydraulic system, it operates in such a way that he is able to dig that without pushing it further, or without accelerating more, or without giving more into hydraulic thing. So these are the things which are changing. These are changing globally, and I see India as the big market wherein we need to use, or we need to adapt this to our requirement, or we need to make this cost effective. But we need to work around it. But yes, I feel we are ready, and B&R as a partner, we can also help many equipment machine manufacturers to implement such a technology in it.
Thank you, Saurabh, for sharing the perspective about the trends which is going on through the IoT. Now coming to Mr. Kiran Kambapati. Pandemic broke equipment manufacturing due to lockdown imposed on many sectors. What strategy would you suggest to enhance manufacturing heavy equipment, for instance, in the changing times of pandemic unlock phase, that might involve digitalization to affect paradigm shift for business growth amid emerging transformations taking place? Mr. Kiran, please.
So thanks for the question. And so what we are seeing, and I will tell this from our firm's experience, having worked with companies across sectors in the last 1.5 to 2 years, right through the pandemic, is that there is a lot of emphasis on, when the first wave hit, it was just to ensure that the operations are stable. And in terms of, whether, the labor workers were, available or not, how do we schedule them? How do we ensure that, things are safe? By the second wave happened, there were a lot more, breakthroughs in terms of improvements that started happening by then. And companies were getting a little more confident in how to effectively tackle, the post-COVID scenario. And I'll just give you one or two examples here where, initially, since you spoke about, asked about digitalization specifically, there was a lot of emphasis on ensuring that we get the right information or the data. So there's a lot of data floating around. Now, how do we make sense out of it? How do we get insights out of it? So a lot of companies suddenly started getting into analytics, started getting into digitalization of equipment, of how do we ensure that, if there are 4 million bits of information which is just coming, and then companies started coming to us, asking for help, saying, how do we, now that we have installed automation solutions, we have installed intelligent, equipment, etc. Now we need help to kind of make sense out of it. So how do we ensure that the scheduling, the supply, the demand, all of it is integrated? How do we analyze the data, the mountain of data that has come, and then how do we come up with reasonable assumptions? And there is that amount of emphasis there to kind of upskill in the workforce, and this is irrespective of industry and including heavy engineering, is to say that there was a lot of emphasis on how do we make the right decisions very quickly. So even if it means lesser data but quicker decisions, there was a lot of emphasis there. Right, and this is I could give you examples across industries, which I've already talked about a little. And what we have seen this is companies are willing to adopt. Earlier manufacturing companies were not very comfortable with software and Orange and various statistical packages, etc. Now they are much more open. That's what we have seen, and they want to kind of skill up very fast to ensure that they are not left behind. Compared to what was traditionally seen as a services industry, where a lot of data analysis was done anyway in banking and telecom and service industries and insurance, etc. But now we have seen that in the last 1.5-2 years, there's a big jump or shift towards embracing newer technologies, whether it is in automation, whether it is in technology, whether it is in digitalization, or whether it's in skilling in the people. And that's been a big let's say benefit. Unfortunately, I should not be saying benefit, but I get remembered of the joke which is being passed around. What is the chief trigger for your digital strategy? And the answer was not the CEO or not the CPO, but COVID. So that's kind of happened over the last 1 month.
Yeah. So Kiranji, you actually, it is very encouraging, the feedback what we are getting from you. So looking at present scenario, even Bharat stage emission norms are changing for off-the-road equipments. What we are importing or India is manufacturing. How do you see what you must have done some study or research in that area?
Yes.
How do you see that? What kind of encouraging signs you are seeing from this manufacturing space for machine tools, especially, or automation companies?
Right. So one is directly at the automotive company stage, where we were interacting a lot with both the customer-facing, marketing and sales function, and also the R&D function. So since your question is more towards the component side, is where I will get into the component. Now, interestingly, we had a lot of interest where something like how do we design better? So if we were to do a complete breakdown of all the components and do value engineering, and how do we ensure that we are at the lowest cost providing the best technology, and that kind of questions or that kind of interest has happened a lot, especially the ballooning industry of electric two-wheeler segment. I would specifically call out that because we have worked with one client about a year back during the pandemic, a two-wheeler client who was looking at innovating and coming up with a new product, and how did it work backwards and impact into the R&D, which in turn would then affect their suppliers and the OEM, because their requirements would then be looked at that. And one of the best things that I saw, actually, this is just giving you an example, a full page ad of the Mahindra new vehicle which is being launched, and the 2/3 or half the page was covered with all the equipment manufacturers and thanking them for coming up, helping Mahindra to kind of come up with this product. And that's the emphasis which is there in ensuring that the OEMs, the end user or the industry who we are catering to is giving that much more importance to R&D and the different methodologies, whether it's design for Six Sigma. So earlier we were talking about DMAC, which is the traditional approach for Six Sigma. We are also talking about design for Six Sigma, where it involves the components and then getting into the machine tools, and how do we ensure that we build the machine tools to make those components. So that's the kind of discussions we have.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kiranji. And we should listen from the manufacturer also. Sekhar sir. What is your view on this? Can you hear me, Sekhar sir?
Just I want to supplement it. So your question is with respect to the BS4, okay, you can say for heavy industries. So new standard has been released by guest notification has come. It is called CEV stage 4. So which is equivalent to for automotive standard is BS6. So we are really facing the challenges. We are not getting the indigenous manufacturer with respect to the after treatment system. So we can we are engine manufacturers, and we are working with some of the Indian companies also like Ashok Leyland and other people. So they are also struggling. So whatever the modification required with respect to engine, we are able to do it, like CRDA modification, other things. Even CRDA kit is not full-fledged indigenous manufacture not available. So we are also depending on import sources. So similarly for after treatment, majority of the people are depending on China. That is one of the major blow it has come recently also. So it's cost effective means even if you take it Cummins, if you take it whoever is coming that after treatment system, they are depending on China based manufacturers, or it is going for Europe or US, it's going to be very, very expensive. And from October onwards, we are supposed to get all the construction equipment from BS, that is CE stage 4. So we have taken up with the ministry, we got extension up to 6 months. But problem is, with this cost, whatever it is, so my engine cost is getting increased by minimum 10 to 15%, whatever current level. And for higher ranges, we go for somewhere around 300 kilowatt or 400 kilowatt. It is almost like double the cost. So main thing is going for after treatment. That is one area. In fact, Indian industry has to give thrust on that, how to develop the indigenous ATC. In fact, as a BML, we are ready to work with the indigenous. We give handshake down to indigenous people, and if they come out with some kind of after treatment system development, definitely we are open to it. But industry fact is, yes, for BS4 we are not as a domestic player.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and sir, are you also? Sure.
One more, Mr. Praveen. I think I saw in question and answer. So when you are moving towards automation, so he is telling that whether it is jobless, so whether it is unemployment is going to be created, all those things and all. As okay, that is a general thought. It is in everybody's mind. It is not so.
Absolutely, and we are discussing this for last 50 years.
Same thing we thought.
Absolutely.
Same thing we thought when computers are coming. It is not unemployment. It is created more and more employment only.
Absolutely. So I have a question, sir. I have a question relevant to this same. Like, how is your organization approaching towards non-fossil fuel equipments?
Non-fossil. We are not currently working on that, but because we wanted to try on that. But meanwhile, we are going with alternate fuel. For example, LNG. So recently also, we have been signed a MOU with Coal India and GAIL. So we are working on that. So ministry itself is driving very aggressively as an alternate fuel to diesel. So all our things, because in fact we want to go with the LNG. So some of the heavy industry, heavy dump truck. So we would like to go with the alternate. It's called dual fuel. Dual fuel mode means, especially for dump truck, we can able to substitute the diesel as is around 30 to 40%. So it means my cost also is going to come down. We are already working on that, but okay, so for fossil fuel, it is a little bit, we have some preliminary study only is that, but we are going aggressively with alternate LNG.
Thank you for the update, sir. Thank you for the update. And also we have a lot of questions received, including, one delegate was talking about how vehicle scrap policy is going to impact the market. These all are wonderful triggering questions. I mean, it required a lot of discussion, and it is our privilege to have each one of you on this panel discussion. We have a lot of expertise on board today. Thank you so much for being here. Before wrapping up this session, I request Mukund sir, can you take the opportunity to give a closing statement for our session?
Closing statement means considering everybody's presentations. Actually, it was very good addition to the knowledge in every field. Electronics, then your heavy equipments. Especially BML is a great company. I had visited that also and seen that working also, and their equipment also there. It's a really great thing actually. I think this topic is very important, and people may have some more questions. They can always write to you or through us, and we can always reply that. No issues.
Definitely, automation is not replacing the operators. So it's only making life of operators easy. So it's like moving from a
Yeah.
manual gear or manual transmission to automatic transmission in cars, or having a dashboard with touchscreen in your car. So it's as simple as that.
Yes. Okay, Kiranji, one sentence before you close the session.
Thank you very much for having me, and it's been a great pleasure to interact with all of you panelists and also the attendees, and looking forward to many such intellectually stimulating discussions, and of course followed up with the action where it's really implemented, and looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on today's topic, recovery and review, heavy engineering equipment and machine tool business in India. We hope you enjoyed the session thoroughly. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Mr. V. Shekhar, Mr. Saurabh Kulkarni, Mr. Mukund Puranik, and Mr. Kiran Khamapati. I would also like to thank Mr. Gopal Krishna and Mr. Prasad Nair for taking this initiative. So with this, we would like to announce the closing of today's session. I request you to stay tuned for more such sessions. Until then, thank you and goodbye.